And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the FreshandFit Podcast. We're here with our boy Ed Latimore
in the building.
Yo, we got a great show planned for y'all. Let's get it.
Let's go.
All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back to the FreshandFit Podcast. So quick announcements, guys, before we get into the show.
Patreon.
Oh, sound good? Yeah. Okay, all right. My bad, guys. I was like, wait, that sound good. All right, guys, patreon.com/FreshFit. Go ahead and get all the behind-the-scenes content you can't find anywhere else there. To include kicking out that annoying bimbo. Did we post that yet?
It will be up tonight.
It'll be up tonight, guys. We're going to post that up tonight for y'all. Kicked out a girl last night. She was being annoying as fuck, so we have to get rid of her.
And if you don't know who it was red hair, red dress girl.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Talking super slow, like.
And yeah, she was like, "Watch you guys target me." I'm like, "Target you?" I'm like, "Target yourself, stupid."
Yeah, like
you stupid. It was crazy.
So, yeah, so she was fucking dumb. Shout out to Dollface for helping out with the kick out on that. Because I'll tell you guys this, I've noticed this. When we have a girl in the studio that's part of the squad, the girls don't try it they don't try us as bad. You know what I'm saying? Because they know, oh man, I know he ain't gonna hit me. Yeah. Let me try to get this clout. But it's like, oh, she might hit me though. So let me leave. So it always helps.
Especially from Jamaica.
Wait, Mo, you got the back angle?
Yeah, he did. He got it.
Right, cool.
So shout out to Mo. We got two different camera angles that we got y'all with the Frank Castle. And like I said, bro, she was acting too crazy. I was like, you know what, chat, what do y'all want? Those resounding
chat
ones.
Decided.
They're like, get her the fuck out of here. So it is what it is.
Shout out to the merch gang.
Check it out, man. It's gonna be up tonight. Patreon.com/FreshFit. Also, we got a bunch of Zoom calls on there and everything else. And then we need to do a Zoom call this month as well. What I'm thinking we're probably gonna do, since we missed the Zoom call last month because of the bullshit that we had with YouTube where we got kicked off the air for a week. We'll probably just do it for all patrons at probably 20 and up. We're gonna do it for all of y'all, right? So stay tuned for that Zoom call. I'm thinking maybe this weekend we're gonna do it for y'all. And then also Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, every single platform you guys listen to podcasts. We're there. Just make sure you wear headphones. And then also get the merch, FreshandFitPodcastStore.com, hoodies, t-shirts, all there. Get them. And then also, guys, we got another YouTube channel. It's called FreshandFit Clips, where we go ahead and post, the best parts of the show, somewhere between 2 to 10 minutes. And if you have a short attention span, we got FreshandFit Shorts, which is 60 seconds and below. All right. And Fresh has a vlog channel as well.
For behind the scenes, guys, check out the vlog channel, 100K on the way. So you can see the lifestyle. We do behind the scenes. Check it out. BBC Gang, we're up.
Okay, and then last but not least, go ahead and subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Feta1811, guys, where I break down criminal cases. I just did the NYC subway shooter from Brooklyn this past Sunday. It was a great show. Broke down the case, read through the criminal complaint. We figured out how the FBI was able to find him. And he's probably one of the dumbest criminals ever. But he did the shooting with a gun that he purchased in his real name like an idiot and left it at the crime scene. So they were able to trace it right back to him, as well as a storage unit and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, go ahead, check out that other channel, guys, if you like crime type drama. But other than that, man, we got a special guest in the house. Unless, Chris, did you have any other announcements you want to make or no?
No, I'm good. Shout out to the merch gang.
You good? Okay, shout out to Mo in the back as well.
The legend is here
himself. We got a special guest in the house. Ed Latimore. I've been trying to get Ed on the show for a very long time, guys, but he's been all over the place. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit more detail. But Ed, we know who you are, but they may not know who you are. Can you introduce yourself to all of us, please?
Man, it always comes back to introducing myself. I'm gonna do the best job I can. I'm Ed Latimore. I used to fight professional heavyweight boxing, and that went as good as and as far as it could go. I had a great career as an amateur and a professional. Particularly as an amateur, I had a great career, man. A really good time. Learned a lot. Got my ass kicked and kicked some asses too. And then once fighting was over, I had been doing a bunch of things kind of concurrent to fighting because I knew one day it would be gone. So I went to school and started working on my website and built my social media presence as well. I figured that one day I'd be able to do something. I didn't know what I would do with it. I was originally going back to school to get a job, and the internet had different plans for me. And I figured out, really how to monetize attention, which is an incredible thing, man. We're sitting right here because you guys have figured that out, and you know, and all that. And the other claim to fame we were talking about a little earlier, man, is that I'm really public with everything regarding sobriety, man. I know, you know, it's not for everybody. For me, changed my life completely, putting down the bottle, and now I'm pretty straight, man. I'm coming up on 9 years. It'll be 9 years this December. I haven't had any booze, been drunk, I've been made a fool of myself.
9 years.
And that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, man. Is your story is really captivating, and I think it's something that's very important that needs to be put out there. But before we do, can you tell the people a little bit about your background? Like, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Oh yeah, man. I'm a hood kid, man. I'm a straight stereotype statistic.
Tyrone.
At-risk youth. Pretty much, man. You know, not full goon mode, but I grew up in the projects, man. Born to a single mom.
Where specifically?
Pittsburgh, PA. And what's crazy is, you know, I spent the first 8 years of my life in one project, and then that place got so bad they were like, you know, fuck it, we're just gonna tear it down. So they tore it down and moved us to another project across town.
What project?
Northview Heights project. So anybody watching from Pittsburgh, the Hill District project up there on Borough Street, and then over in Northview Heights up there on Mount Pleasant Road. Those where I grew up. That's where I'm from. I lived there till I was like 18. When I went away to college for the first time, and that didn't work out. But yeah, man, that is my origin story in a nutshell. You know, from the hood. Now, I wasn't in the street, but I was aware of street stuff. I had family members and friends, you know, who are aware of that. You can't grow up in that and not see stuff and not know stuff. I mean, like you know, it's funny. Like even now, not so much, but for a long time, you know, you don't lose that comfort you have going into places at night. You realize, man, people are scared of shit that you just, you know, you take for granted. Like, oh man, I'm walking at night in a place where there might be, or probably was, like a shooting a few nights ago, or you see some people on the block, and I'm looking at it and I go, well, okay, do they look like they're interested in us? Maybe not. Well, I'll just give you, if you just walk straight forward, you know, look like an easy target kind of deal. But that sense, that taste for the street, it just gets built into you. And then, you know, I don't think I would like I would never be like, you know, we're gonna go today, we're gonna go to the projects and hang out. Like, nah, because that's not part of my life at all. But it was at one point, and I, you know, and it's really just a big part of how I see the world and how I interact with it.
And how old are you now?
I'm 37 now.
37. So this was what, the early mid 2000s where you were growing up in this part of the.
Oh, I'm a 90s kid, man. Okay. Yeah. So you know, born in 85.
Yep.
Left in 2003. Spent all the 90s there, you know.
Okay, the
beginning of the crack epidemic.
Yep.
You know, saw that and all that craziness. People go, where all this crack jokes come from? Man, I lived through the nonsense. I seen it. Mm-hmm. You know, because I make a lot of crack jokes on the internet. And people are like, on Twitter. Yeah. People are like, hell, bro. People are like, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't get it. It's crack a thing. Like, nah, man, it's just my sense of humor, how I coped with a lot of that stuff. That was just part of the life. Yeah. And for me, it's how I decided to deal with it. There's an old saying I like to say, man, you could either laugh a little or cry a lot. And I was like, hey, man, look, we're going to make some jokes out of this because I'm not going to be sad and feel sorry for myself about all this.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, what made you not go down that path of the streets, even though it was in front of you all this time?
Man, a few things. For starters, you're not going to believe this, and no one ever does when I tell them. But like, I was an ugly kid, man. I mean, I don't know about repulsive, but like, pretty much. I
can see how you are an ugly kid. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, man.
But you know what it is, man? I was looking at some pictures just now because I had to pull some stuff, and I was like, you know what it is? I have looked the same since I was like 10, and I look like a grown ass man at 10. Now, like, it looks right. Then it didn't. All right.
I can already picture them roasting you in the hood.
Oh, hey, dude, you want to hear the worst roast I get?
Yeah.
This was back when that movie, Michael Crichton, he wrote the book about the apes, Congo, right? And so what they used to call me that. I kid you not. They used to call me that, Congo, man. I was like, dude, and you know what it is, like you get to a certain point, you feel cool, like reliving your little, you know, childhood nonsense. It took a while before I could be like, man, they used to call me Congo, and they used to say I look like an ape, man, like, because I felt bad about it. I felt like it's embarrassing, but that's how it was. But being like that kid that already made me not like people, right?
Yeah.
So I would spend a lot of my time playing video games and just hanging out in the house, man. And then running with my two little homies, man. You know, one was like kind of a wannabe gangbanger, but the other one wasn't. And it was easy until I got to high school. And then I went to a high school across town, completely away from all that. But up until that point, that's one of the things I think really kept me on the straight and narrow. I really believe that is that I didn't fit in. I wasn't that guy. Like, you know, one of the things they can catch you and keep you in the hood. So there's like breaking the law. Everybody knows about that, right? But the other thing people don't like, they don't talk about too often is if you knock some chick up, then now it's real hard. And wasn't no chicks trying to let me knock them up. So it was never an issue.
You know what's funny? People say all the time, "Oh, you're ugly, you're this and that." But my thing is like, I'm glad. You know why? When I was coming up and I wasn't the best looking guy, I could relate to you. I didn't get girls at all. So it helped me become who I wanted to be without having the pressure of like being with a girl, get her pregnant. And now at this point, I was able to develop my mindset a little bit. So now that I'm a little bit older, cool. Now I know what it is. Versus back in the day, I'd have been a fool.
As dude, you know, well, because I think every guy kind of goes through this when they unlock the Rosetta Stone and they get it and they're like, it's that easy. You just and you kind of go drunk with power. And I was no different. But I know that if I had those abilities and powers when I was too young to grasp them and really understand what I could do, I'd have a bunch of kids. It would be miserable.
Facts.
But it really worked out to my advantage. That's probably the biggest one. The second biggest one, and I really got to give you know, a shout out to my mom. She messed up a lot. One of the things she did not mess up on, I never doubted that my mom loved me. And I didn't think that was one of those things that made a difference until I was reading this book. And it turns out like one of the best things you can do to make sure your kid doesn't turn into an asshole is love it, right? You know, single mom love, but it's love, like, which means there was no tough influence in my house. Thank goodness I played sports. That's where a lot of that came from. But that love, you know, like I never wanted to disappoint my mom, man. I don't want to make her angry or anything like that.
So, so you grew up in Pittsburgh. You're there in the 90s. You know, we make it through the crack epidemic and everything else. And when did you leave? Did you end up going to college or no?
Okay, so I tried
for a bit, and you were like, "Fuck this."
You know what happened, man? Look, I tell anybody listening who's like at that age, take this advice to heart. If you're not ready, like if you don't think you got a reason to be there, don't fucking go. Like just don't do it because it's expensive.
Yeah,
and it's basically a party. It's the most expensive party you ever gonna go to.
Yeah, might put you in debt.
It is basically a party. I'll because I went to college.
It's a mess. Like I went the first time when I was 18, and I tried to do everything. I tried to like, you know, go to class and be straight on. Nah, I wasn't working, man, because I was like,
where are you at? Were you going to?
I went to University of Rochester.
Okay.
Right.
Up in New York?
Up in New York, yeah.
Okay, yep.
Man, I failed out.
Bro.
I failed out in 3 semesters. Actually, I didn't even fail out. What happened is I was on academic probation for the first semester. The second semester, I didn't do too hard, but I did just enough to stay. And the third, they were like, "Yo, bro, what's going on? You about to go?" And I'm like, "You can't fire me. I quit." And I got my homie to drum me back. But because
what were you doing? Like,
I was drinking to chase girls, man. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I went from like, cause okay, so in high school, I went to this school, and this school was it took me about an hour to get there every day on the school bus. It was on a completely different part of the city, and that changed my life completely, being in that area, right, and not being around the element.
Yeah,
but I didn't have the ability to like do anything. Like my social life was good. It was okay, but it wasn't great. I get to this place, man, and I could just cut loose and be wild. I could go drink. I found out you could get alcohol. Like just get it. Like somebody's got it. You don't need it, but you can get it. And I got a lot of it, man, whenever I could. And there was always some girls too.
So is this when you started like drinking heavily?
Oh, absolutely.
Is college now like so you weren't doing it when you were in high school and stuff?
No,
when you were in college?
Because like here's what's crazy. They talk about like one of the the key factors in someone developing, they say a substance use disorder. I say alcoholism, whatever, right? But they say one of the key factors is if you start drinking at a younger age, the younger you are, the more likely you are to get it. I didn't have my first drink till I was like 17. And it was actually a beer at that on a recruiting trip at that very school.
Okay.
Right. And but I just, I took to that like fish to water, man. It was easy. You go drink, because here's the thing, man. I didn't even to this day, and this is one of the things that fueled me later on with my drinking. I never feel comfortable just standing there, right? I always feel like I got to be doing something with my hands, talking, drinking, trying to fit in.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm a big dude, and then I'm kind of competitive in my mind too. So I'm like, I'm gonna be the best drinker in the crew. I'm out drink all of y'all. This is my game, right? So that's what fuels it. But that's where it starts, right? That's just where it starts. And then, but I fell out, man, because it wasn't for me. I wasn't there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I was wasting money. I missed my friends. I had a big, attachment issues and stuff too.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't coping well.
So you started drinking in college, 17, and then you go back to Pennsylvania. Does the drinking get worse?
Okay, so here's what happened, man. This is crazy. I actually was sober for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Because I was dating a girl whose father was an alcoholic, and I said, you know what, I'm a be a bastion of sobriety. I'm gonna be a good example.
How old are you at this point now?
19.
Okay, so you have your first drink at college.
17.
You drink, you go crazy in college, then you
come back, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get under control.
Okay,
so 19, 23, right? Cool. And then that relationship goes whatever, and I try to stay sober. But
were you boxing at this point?
Not even boxing at this point.
Boxing yet.
Not even boxing at this point.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get into the boxing soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, that was it's one of those things, and there's nothing wrong with like if a girl is your reason, but you got to understand why. I didn't understand why, and I didn't realize that like I could be myself, condo.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't feel like I had to impress somebody.
Yeah.
But that's what you do when you're a kid, man. You think you got to impress people. Drinking is a real easy way to impress people. Like drinking is that's like the universal bonding thing, and that's like the universal way to exert like some type of social dominance.
What's funny? So in school, right, I tried my first shot. It tasted so bad. I said I can't drink alcohol. I just can't do it, right? But you're right. In those circles, everyone was drinking. So what I would do, right, I would get the shot, pretend to drink it, and then throw it away.
Oh man, see,
I know I would see it, but that's how I would fit in without actually taking the actual drink. So
I had too much integrity, man.
Yeah.
I had to really be there and be about that life,
Yeah, no, I got you. Fresh the scammer, that's why he was able to do it. So,
do way.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The Nigerian scammer. So you were you're with the girl.
Yeah.
You're clean for what, 3 years with her?
3 years, man.
You didn't drink
almost
at all?
4. Didn't drink at all.
So what happened? Like, did you break up with her? She broke up with you?
You know what happened, man? You just go as far as you can at some point because I mean, real talk. Like, I was just a loser, man. And there's a great story I'm sure we'll get to when we talk about boxing that really highlights that. But I was just a loser, man. And she was, you ever get a chick that's like a little too pretty for your lifestyle?
Okay.
And you feel it.
It's like, yo, I shouldn't be here.
And you're right. And you're like
punching above your weight class.
And you don't really know. You don't know what's wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what was wrong. I was like, whatever, man. But nah, it hit me later. And then one time I was, and then a few months later I was at a party and I was like, oh, let's drink. And then that's when it really picked up. That's when it picked up again.
Yeah. And so now at this point, you're what, 20 years old now?
22.
22 at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so 17 you start drinking. You're with this girl for a few years. About you break up with her when you're about 21.
21, 22-ish. Yeah.
So then a few months later, you go to a party, you start drinking again.
Start drinking
the bottle
again.
the first time.
Yep.
And then take us through that. What was that like, drinking again after?
Man, I was back in the game. Come on, man. Like, the best analogy I can give.
Yeah.
It's like if you was in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And then you break up and then you back out at the club again for the first time. You back in the game, brother. Like, you might not be shit, but you feel like you could do anything. You feel like you know, you learn something, you didn't level up your game, you know, you out here fresh on the prowl. That's kind of like what my thought process was like, I'm back and we gonna make up for lost time.
Damn, okay.
And we gonna catch up to
Make up for
everybody.
lost time. That's when you know, when you hear that, it's like, we're not just gonna come back, we're coming back with a force.
Yeah, because I didn't want to be known as a
Yeah.
square if I didn't, you know, because you don't have to think about that when you got a girl.
Yeah.
When you by yourself,
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to be known as a square. That's what it was. So I was like, let's get after it.
Okay. I'll hit some of these chats real quick. Hey, you guys like that new camera angle over there, by the way?
I think your mic is a little bit distorted here.
Yeah. One
All
was
right,
about
I think we're good now.
Boom.
Yeah,
There
no.
you go.
All right. Okay, so I'll read some of these chats real quick, man. And I'm really excited for this interview, guys. Okay, we got remember, gentlemen, penguins pay the bills, and that's from our boy Mr. Bayham 85. Mohammed Ibrahim. Hey fellas, can you shout out Coach RedPill and wish for his safety? This will help him and make the Chilean embassy take action. Yes, so okay, real quick. As of Friday, guys, and I've been following this as well. I just wasn't sure where we're kind of at with the situation, but we haven't heard from Coach RedPill, aka Gonzalo Lira. My wishes are with him. I hope that he's okay. As you guys know, he was in Ukraine, telling y'all about a lot of the stuff that's going on over there. Some of that was opposed to the Zelensky regime, and you know, he did so knowing that, you know, he could potentially put him in danger. But you know, he had to tell the truth, and I respect him for that. And I hope he's okay. I hope he's you know, out of Kharkov, made it out of there, and you know, yeah. But if he did get abducted or whatever else like that, we gotta take action and try to find the man. You know what I'm saying?
But he did say if you don't hear from him in 12 hours,
Yeah,
something
did say that.
might be up.
you know. So
Or he could just be hiding.
yeah.
You
So
never know.
our prayers are with him, man. As you guys know, he's been on the show twice. I admire Coach RedPill, Gonzalo Lira, very intelligent guy, very smart guy, Ivy League graduate, very bright person. So I wish him the best, and I hope he's okay. I really do. And I'm going to be keeping up. It's just that I've been waiting, guys. Kind of like I've been following Twitter and everything else like that. I hate Twitter, but I have been watching it to see where he is. But no one's been able to confirm anything yet. Okay, Doopy Zo, thank you, brothers, for inspiring. I passed my safe exam and now am now an MLO. Bought property, got an interview published about me. Always leveling up. Shout out, yo. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro.
Shout out to you, bro. Chris Puckett. Yo, Ed, what's up with this caffeine?
Hey, drink it. I guess, man, I don't know.
Cool and man, always need an icy just in case.
Kool-Aid
okay?
man.
Kool-Aid man. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dante Latimore just got my E5P status today. Okay. E5.
Like
status,
in the
okay?
army?
I think he means in the military, probably.
Yeah.
Welcome to FNF, Ed. What's good, FNF gang? And that's from
Simonian Bams 94. Shout out to you, bro.
And then Fresh, you got this one. I got
Venom?
this
$5 says, I remember back in high school, there was a girl that looked mad old. We swear she was an undercover cop or something. Shannon Walters $5 says, hey Ed, came across an article of yours about dealing with the loss of a parent. My uncle died last November and it helped me. My cousin, my friend, props to you. All right.
Hey, thanks, man.
Shannon Walters $5 says, you also consider inviting King Carter, i.e. Hot Damn IROC, even though he changed directions after tragedies. He's one of the OP RB comedians. Yeah, I remember him from back in the day.
And that's from Shannon Walters. And then Daniel, and hey, Ed, during the pandemic, the Asians were shocked that the majority of the violence was coming from the African-American community. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I have no idea, or I don't want to say no idea, right? So you know, my general thoughts are that anywhere where there is low income, that tends to correlate with violence, and it just so happens that in America there is an overlap of low income and racial homogeneity, where it just is, you know, black people. I will not ever fall into the trap, because that's what it is. I think it's a cognitive trap, and I think the government's done a great job of making sure we all fall for it. I will never fall into the trap of thinking that it is that a lot of the discrimination issues we see, even in the police, are about race. I think it's about a lack of funding and training and about money. And the minute we start thinking about that, because we can do something about that. What we can't do, what does like racial equality and harmony look like? Well, who knows? We just keep moving it, just keep agitating people. But we know what it looks like if we can see what the money's being spent. So, you know, that's a solution. And I bring all that up to say that question is coming from a place where you've fallen into the narrative. You believe that it's a race thing, and it's almost never just race.
Oh man, be careful, Ed. You're putting accountability on people. What the hell?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Man.
oh God, we're about to get canceled. No, just kidding.
Oh, dude, if there's one thing, I think I'm mostly a likable character in the internet
No, I agree with
space.
you. I agree with you on what you just said. It's just that's considered. Oh my God, you're a racist or you're an apologist or whatever it
But
is.
one
Like,
of the things,
they don't want no accountability, bro. It's like, oh, the man's holding us down. It's like, okay, bro.
One of the things I catch a lot of flack for is I refuse to look at the racial element first.
Yeah.
I will look at everything else that we can measure, look at, see who benefits, because I know who benefits when we think it's race. Like I know that from just watching and growing up.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, okay, what do you not want us to look at? And that's pretty much how I respond to anything whenever someone makes it about race first. Now, that's not to say I'm like, oh, racism doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No, I just won't let that dominate my thoughts, so I miss everything else. You know?
That's an important distinction because they're going. You know how they're going to try to sit there and be like, oh no, you're trying to say race doesn't exist. No, it's just that's not. That's just one component. We don't look at the other components.
That's one component, and it's the most volatile component.
Yes.
And whenever you
feelings,
the more your feelings are jacked up, the harder it is for you to think objectively, and you just are not. Man, they run us for a loop. Don't get me on that rant, man.
Oh man. Okay.
Resist the slave mind.
Okay. Resist exactly as our boy Andrew Tate says.
Andrew Tate.
Resist the slave mind. You
Gotta do it.
Was that Tate in the house?
No, he always says resist the slave mind. Last time he was on the show, he was saying that all the time.
One more.
And then Grease Junkies, do it yourself. Drinking here and there is okay in moderation, but what do you think, Chris? Since used to be a teacher.
Just take care of your health, and just hit the gym, and then you should be drinking less. But yeah, I mean, I was drinking in moderation, but don't overdo it. Anything in abundance is way too much. Except money.
All right. So we were talking about. So you pick up the bottle again at 22 after the breakup with your girl. And guys, by the way, like the goddamn video, we got Ed Latimore in the fucking house. And we're going through his alcohol story, how he beat alcoholism. And at this point, are you drinking like you pick it up and you're like, all right, time to make up for lost time? Like, tell us like how often were you drinking? Like, how much were you drinking?
You know what? Man, at this point, what's weird, man? You get into your upper 30s, like your early 20s are like a long time ago.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
But so I'm trying to remember. I know how it was at the end. At the beginning, yeah, I mean,
were you working at the time or?
I was working shit jobs, man.
It's just like
I was a bum.
Jobs, like some bullshit here and there.
I was working at Starbucks, man. I was a barista for like 3 years.
Oh shit!
Collectively, I was a barista for 3 years because I worked one full and then took time off and then came back.
Yeah.
But you go out on the weekends and weekends every day. Every day. And then what I figured out too, you ain't got to be in college to party with college kids, and they always have booze.
Yep.
And that was golden key, man. That's a cheat code.
Yeah.
So there's definitely Thursday, Friday, Saturday, depending on what we was doing and who had what stash around the house, or who had to wake up early. You find out Monday, Tuesdays, whatever, right? And look, I'm not saying that like you can't drink, especially as a young person, and not be straight. I'm saying for me, it was no good. It was a bad recipe because what I was using alcohol for, I was using it to bolster my ego. It wasn't, it's path dependent, right? What you get out of it. If you just drink and party and have a good time and relax, you're probably gonna be good. Like if you ain't got no demons you're dealing with or trying to hide or anything like that. Yeah. But I'm relatively insecure. I know I ain't shit. And
damn, the honesty is striking.
Oh man, you gotta keep it real with yourself, especially when you look back, man. Hindsight is 2020. So insecure, no, I ain't shit. I'm using it as a way to be cool and blend in, because even though they were cool with me, a lot of the kids that I found to drink, well, they're still not my social group. I'm an outsider. I'm working my way in. And alcohol is a great way. Yeah. I remember I must have been 19. We were anybody who lived like in the upper Northeast, you drive over to the beach towns for like a week as a kid. or as like a young adult. And whenever you get there, you get there with your people, but some kids down the block or whatever, they rented a house too, and you want to link up, show up with a case and a handle, a case and a handle, and you was okay. It didn't matter, like as long as you didn't do anything crazy, you was okay as you showed up with a case and a handle. So it was social currency, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the bank though. Like that was my idea. That's how I was gonna approach everything. So for me, it was really. Even calling it escapism is probably a little light. It was a way for me not to face and deal with kind of reality.
Okay.
So
you were so at this point, 22, working at Starbucks here and there, kind of drinking all the time. What were we drinking, like Monday to Sunday?
Oh, we was probably throwing down at least 5 days a week. I don't know if it was consecutive, but in terms of like that point in my life, yeah, man, at least 4 days a week, at least.
And were you waking up with hangovers all the time, or or you were waking up drunk, or just like, oh, no hangover for me? Just start drinking again, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Hey, man,
everybody been there. You wake up the next day like, oh, my head hurts. Fuck it, I'm just gonna drink again.
When I was 24, I moved. I might not have been 24 yet. I might have been 23. I was 23, 24. I moved walking distance from a bar.
Oh shit!
And it was a cheap bar. You could go down in $10 and not remember how you got home.
Oh shit!
And
penny
there
beers.
was, multiple penny bear. Yeah, right.
Penny beers. No,
Chris knows about that shit.
Yeah. Shout out to the Grove, by the way.
Chris alcoholic too, bro. Don't worry about it. Like, he's still alcoholic. He needs to write his book.
So like, yeah, dude, I would always be down there. And here's the crazy thing: by this point, I know I'm boxing by this point.
Yeah.
And you could like.
You're boxing now at this point.
Yeah,
How old are you at this point?
20. So if I'm 23, I'm just like playing through memories. Yeah, I would have started fighting at 22.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. But here's the thing, all right. When you are like moderately good at anything, or your life is like moderately together or cool, you can hide a lot of shit, man. Like people ain't gonna look at it and be like, hey, yo, this dude's out of control because I'm going to the gym every day. That was like my rule. I was like, yo, I gotta make sure I go to the gym.
Okay.
I have sparred on numerous occasions with a vicious hangover and a few times even a little drunk. Because the rule,
drunken master.
The rule was, you got to get to the gym.
Yeah.
And if it was sparring that day, you got to spar.
Did anyone find out that you were kind of like tipsy?
Oh, a few times. And one of the things one of the things that actually like caused me to stop, my coach, right before I left, and this is jumping a little forward, but right before I left for the Army, I was doing some sparring with my coach. I got some sparring. He was like, yo, you smell like, were you drinking? So yeah, man, I just had a little bit before for the sparring match. He was like, yo, I didn't see everything, because he's had guys be like, full blown on heroin and stuff right there in the gym. He's like, I didn't seen everything. I ain't never seen somebody trying to spar with alcohol, in this system. He was like so mad. And my coach is like a guy I respect. Like when I talk about my role models, my coach is one of the top guys, if not the top guy that comes up. And that was like one of the things that was like, yo, he probably right. I should have.
In my head, I'm picturing like Rocky's trainer, Mickey, like, and you fucking bum! You shut up here with alcohol in your system! You fucking bum! Get up and fight!
He was mad, man. he was mad. And,
your coach.
No, my coach is Tom Yankella is very white.
Okay, white.
Was it a small white guy like Mickey?
Not a small white guy.
Damn, I was hoping, bro, like Rocky, bro, like.
But a health freak though. Like to the point where like,
and you're killing yourself.
I think about. Because I love my coach to death, but like anyone you spend so much time with, we had arguments, and I'll never forget we were going. It was 2 fights. It was when you spend the most time with the coach when you're traveling for a fight.
Of course.
And his eating habits, he's so clean that nothing I eat is clean enough. Okay, I'm like, and I'll never forget. One time we went to his house for, I think it was his father's birthday, and it was cake at his house, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna go have a piece of cake, and he lit into me, and I'm like, yo, the cake was at your house. I didn't eat any. I'm like, oh man, like, but this is that kind of guy. But that kind of discipline is like, that's that, you never had that. I never had that.
And it was a test. You was supposed to take the cake. Fucking bum. You failed. You failed. You failed, Ed. Get him a fight
for it, man.
It was me, Austin. That was the cake. I left.
Yo, all I can think of is fucking Rocky with Mickey like yelling at him, "Get him a fight! Get him a fight, Rocky!"
You want to hear a joke?
Go ahead.
I didn't watch that movie.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
Bro, this guy, bro. He has no knowledge of American pop culture whatsoever. He's Bayesian, bro. He's from the island.
Come on,
None of it
man.
got TVs over there.
This nigga, bro.
They got
The niggas is driving the fucking cars with the feet like Flintstones. Yappa dabba do around the place.
Bro, you're one of those places where the floors was made of dirt. No, dude, when I saw that, because we did this volunteer, it was like kind of volunteer tourism thing. We went down to, hope I get this
Jamaica?
right. Not Jamaica, it was in the DR. Punta Cana, man.
Punta Cana.
Okay, yeah. And we were doing pouring cement on floors because I never seen it. It was a whole house with power outlets, but the floor was dirt. And I was like, yo, and then from that point, I said I grew up American poor. That's how I started distinguishing it because after I seen real poverty, I was like,
going to a poor country makes you like realize like that's why I say even here in the States, like when I see poor people, I'm like, bro, you aren't really
Dude, the poor here is not poor. My first trip to America, bro, my friend told me around the hood. I was like, this is the hood? Light
man.
buildings, clean grass. I'm like, nigga, the hood back home is way worse than this. What the fuck?
Yeah, I used to work at a homeless shelter, one of my many jobs, and one of the constant points of a fight. All these guys had cell phones, man. It blew my mind. I'm like, like you'll hear begging, but because a cell phone, like we think of it as like a thing that's expensive because we pay for it.
Yeah.
But I guess there's like programs where guys get cell phones because like now you can't really do anything and get a job. I mean, it's very difficult. So they think, oh, we're gonna give you a cell phone. But you imagine you got a bunch of people who got into that position, and everyone's got their phone around, and you got them all sleeping in the same room, kind of like holding, right? Things go down, man. Guys fight over phones. It was crazy.
You know how I know it's bad? When a homeless man asked me for money, I said I have no cash. I got Cash App. I'm like,
wow.
What the fuck? You're not homeless, nigga. You have Cash App for your
That's the war we're in now, man. Yeah,
Like, bro,
I'll take your cards now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. One time I went and got some food over at Zook. You know Zook. Zook is a Mediterranean restaurant, guys.
He put me onto that spot.
Right. So I went there one time and I got some Zook. I was there with a chick.
I know.
This is like 2 years ago.
You know what's funny about Myron? He'll go out, but only to eat with a chick, bro. This nigga only go by himself, bro.
That's
facts.
Go ahead. Anyway, so I went to Zook, right? And I went to go eat. And this homeless guy comes up and he's like, I'm hungry. I was like, oh, I got you. And I still had some of the food left over. Yo, I gave him the thing. Nigga looks at me dead ass and goes, yeah, I don't eat curry. And he just walked away. I was like, what the fuck? Number one, this ain't curry because I hate curry, asshole. And then number two, what the hell? Only in Miami, bro. Only in Miami. Niggas out
Bro,
It's like kind of like curry.
yo.
Kwasi Apaya Kubi. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while.
Quick.
Fresh, please look up Ed Bossarge, a 75-year-old billionaire by Forbes. Dumbed a 66-year-old wife of 31 years for a 25-year-old, and me dubbed, okay? And used asset trusts to keep his wife from getting a dime. She has divorce debt. Okay.
God
all right,
damn.
say boys, we up.
Gangster.
And then who else? Anybody else?
No, we good.
Okay. So now so at this point you're boxing.
Yeah.
And you're drinking. So take us through that. So what was that like, bro?
Oh, it was fun, man. Look, dude, here's the thing, okay? So it's very all or nothing.
Okay.
When I knew I had a fight coming up,
Yeah. Would you stop?
yeah, I could stop for the week and be good. But what I would do, and I remember this point in my life because we had just discovered bum wine. I don't know if you know about bum wine.
What is bum wine?
It's Mad Dog 2020, Thunderbird, Wild Irish Rose, the Night Train, and something else. There's the 5
Frenzia?
of
The
them.
shit where you slap the bag?
Not that, but it's stronger, but it's cheaper, man. You know.
I know the chat probably gonna go crazy now.
But it was I would carry bottles of
Yo,
I don't get it.
Fresh looking like the Chicago Bulls logo, bow tie.
I don't get it.
Yo, pull up the Chicago Bulls logo, bro.
I don't get it.
This nigga.
I don't get it. What are you talking about, nigga?
Yo, Chris, you there? Is Chris?
I got it.
Yo, this nigga. Okay, yo, pull up the logo, bro. This nigga Chris is
Chris
missing
is
in
out of
action.
commission, bro.
This nigga in the bathroom probably drinking alcohol right now.
He's drinking out, bro.
Yo, man. Okay, so sorry. Go ahead.
But nah, man, I would carry the bottle with me to the fight, and then as soon as the fight was over, crack it open.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks anything of it because it's right there during the fight. You know, and then look, man, the fight community loves drinking. In fact, one of the things I had to like stop going out when I was first, because I would say, oh, I forgot my wallet when I was trying to quit or something. And they'd be like, no, we got you, bro. Like everybody wants to drink with somebody they think is doing something. Everybody wants to hang out with somebody they think is cool. And who's cooler than somebody who's fighting, even if it's not like on a big stage.
So as soon as the fight was done, you were getting lit.
Oh yeah, I carry bottles with me, or I would have drinks, and there it is.
I don't get it.
Try to say your face wrinkled as fuck, nigga.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, man. So it was easy. I mean, I was fighting and I drank, and that's like what I was like.
That's fucking funny, bro. This nigga, yo. Fresh, you gotta clean up your diet and drink more water, nigga, and go to the gym. You're not even 30 years old, man. You got to taco
man.
face meat ass nigga. That's I remember Max B used to say that shit about Hell Rel. Okay, so going back. Okay. So so you're getting drunk as hell after the fights.
Oh yeah.
And you had a real good record, 13-1-1.
That's my pro. As an amateur, I had even better.
Even better.
Career as an amateur.
So you're being the shad dudes while drinking all the time.
More or less. Yeah, and then now I never, I got one homie, man. He is fought drunk and won at a high level. Some people just they can do it, right? And they shouldn't. That is not like an endorsement. Go try this, but just to like sometimes it be like that, And I did it for a long time, man. And then it was one of those things. It was like, look, as long as I trained, I was good. One time I went out, my friends that came out there, I got recruited by this program. It was out in Los Angeles called All American Heavyweights. And they were like taking former D1 athletes, trying to turn them into boxers. I'm not a former D1 athlete, but I beat the guy that they had put a lot of money into. And they were like, all right, come on out. I'll never forget, man. Like running 6 miles is already like it ain't hard, but it's hard enough, especially up and down. Griffith Park.
And you're a bigger guy. You're what, 6'2"?
6'1".
6'1".
At that point, I was like 227.
Holy shit!
I went out and got sloshed the night before, and then we had a 6-mile run at Griffith Park, and I was like, okay, I could suck my way through this.
Where's Griffith Park located? California.
Burbank, California.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I just went and balls out, beat everybody, right? But a bunch of guys who were lighter weights, everything, and then just slept for like 12 hours. Because that's how it was, man. It was this all or nothing, burn a candle at both ends lifestyle.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys are like that. It's like if you take an old crackhead and you like get him off crack and you put him like in construction.
Yeah.
He gonna kill it. or like fitness. He'll kill it. Because a lot of what leads us to that way of consuming substances is
that mindset can be used constructively.
Yeah, if you get into something constructive.
Yeah.
Which thank goodness I eventually did.
Yep.
But even in my drinking days, I thought I was a good fighter. And so no one could really say anything to me.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like you can say, and here's the other cool thing too, right? Mm-hmm. Outside of boxing, and boxing, especially amateur boxing, kind of by definition, that doesn't pay any money. All right. So people
so you were still working odd jobs.
I'm still broke working odd jobs. I figured out how to like hustle with the unemployment system, all this, right? Yeah. You figure out all the games. But I'm still a straight man. I'm a loser, man. Like let's not front here. But no one sees it that way because it's perception. They see me winning a national title, being out there in Los Angeles, getting everything paid for because I'm fighting. I'm not making that much money, but they're covering my training expenses and sending me places. So it looks one way. Yeah. But the reality, man, I'm like, it's like living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. If you miss that one paycheck, or in my case, lose that one fight, you're in bad shape.
Damn. So at what point did you say, I have to change? Like, everyone comes to that kind of that fork in the road where it's like, I can't maintain this anymore.
All right. So the change for booze came after the change where I was like, yo, I'm living too close to the edge. I lose one fight, it's gonna be a bad time. That happened in 2012. I was like, or 2013 is when I officially enlisted, right? January 4th, 2013. But I had the idea in 2012. I was like, yo,
And you're how old at this point? You're older.
20, I was 27.
27 enlisting in the military.
And I was like, yo, because here's my thought process. I'm at this point, I went pro, right?
Mhm.
But you don't make any money when you first start fighting pro. I think my first 3 fights, I probably made collectively less than $1,000.
Holy shit.
Oh, it's terrible, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I was working at T-Mobile. I was a phone salesman, a phone rep. It's an interesting experience, but I had this. But when somebody comes into the store, you can't close the store if it's time to leave. Like if somebody comes in at 8:58, and we close at 9, you can't shut the door at 9. You can't push them out. And I remember I was supposed to go out drinking, ironically enough. Supposed to go out drinking with some friends.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker came in at like 8:58.
Yeah.
And they stayed until like 10.
Yeah.
And didn't buy anything. So I didn't even get a commission.
Fuck.
And I was so angry. I was like, yo, I am smarter and better than this.
Yeah.
Let me figure it out. And all I knew at that time, this wasn't like before everybody was like doing the whole internet business thing.
Yeah.
But it was early.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't in my
This is
thought
2012,
process.
2013?
Yeah, it wasn't in my process to do it. I was like, I'm gonna go back to school, man, and figure this shit out. I'm not doing this no more.
Mhm.
And then so I enlisted, and then enlisting forced me to have like 26 weeks sober, and that was the longest I've been sober in a minute.
Wow. 6 months.
Yeah, from June to December, I went out and got sloshed on December 22nd. And I woke up and I was like, because I pissed some people off. I made it to my buddy's house, and I didn't know how I got there, but I know I drove, and I was like, oh, this is mad, yo. Okay. Let me step away, because now I got something to lose, because I had 4 things to lose, and this is something that was different too. I didn't have nothing to lose before. Like, I mean, maybe I did, but I didn't think I did.
Yeah.
Now I was like, all right.
Now it's tangible.
Now I'm like, all right. So I just now I'm part of the military, so I'm responsible not just the civilian law, but the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Yep.
I just enrolled in school. All right, not gonna mess that up.
Yep. With your GI Bill.
Mm-hmm. My boxing career is like I had 3 pro fights, but it's plain. I said I'm not gonna mess that up. If I fell at boxing, I wanted it to be because I sucked, not because I got sloshed and run over a cliff or something.
Yeah.
And I had just met the girl I'm still with now. I was like, I think there's some potential here, right?
Okay.
Let's see where this goes. So I said on December 23rd, let's put it down. And here's how crazy, right?
December 23rd, 2013.
Mm-hmm. Got it tatted on one of these arms. There it is.
Is that it?
Right. I'm looking at this. Yep, there it is. Right. Sobriety, and then a tick for every year off. Right. So check it out. I told myself when I first started, I said, this is gonna last till I self-publish a book, or I get my degree, or I want to fight for like a little belt. Right. So I had to trick myself, man, because I didn't want to do it. I just felt like I had to do it.
Yeah.
About a year after, though, about a year, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize how, like, you start going like, whoa, I was really not dealing with a lot of shit. Now I can, like, deal with stuff and I was making progress in my life, man. I was sleeping like 8 hours fresh, waking up, had time in my life. I mean, and I was using it constructively.
Yeah.
But you don't realize how messed up things are until you stop being messed up, and you step back and you're like, well, you're good for a minute. Because before, right, I would step off and be like, all right, this shit's good. Let's go celebrate with a drink. But I got rid of that. So now I was like, well, what am I gonna do? I guess I can do some work. Because I could, train for another hour at the gym. Because that was another thing I started doing. I started altering my training times so I could get down to the bar and get down to the bar for happy hour. That's some bad shit when you start, because boxing's my bread and butter at that point when I started doing that. But I said, all right, man, I want to be out of here by 5.
Yeah.
Because happy hour 6 to 8. So we had to go make it. And I was broke too. So it's not like I had all this money and resources. I always say
you
one
went
of the
to happy hour because it was cheaper. Wait, significantly.
I always say one of the best things that happened is I didn't have any success until I was sober. Because if I had even and I don't have like a lot, like I'm not rich or anything, but I have a bit more money than the average guy. Certainly like top 1% earner. I would definitely be spending that money.
Yep. In
at
nefarious
the bar.
ways.
Oh, for sure, man. Just being out of control. And I was like, what are we gonna do? I'll go to a concert, right? That kind of thing. And be calmed down and be cool and chilled out.
Wow.
So basically, the turning point for you was late December 2013. You're basically like, yo, I got 4 things I could lose: the military, my girl, boxing, and
school.
And school. Okay, so that's what made you finally had tangible
I had
things that you can lose.
I could be like, yo, well, because look, here's the thing. It's just, you know, look, we talked about my upbringing, right? We talked about where I came from.
Yeah.
You don't come out of that without some trauma, okay? If you don't ever take some time to like deal with it, it's gonna deal with you. I never dealt with, you know, like weird attachment issues. You don't, because you're a man, you ain't got no attachment issues, man. I'm a fucking man, right?
Yeah.
Like, nah, I could not leave my friends. That was one of the reasons why I left school the first time. It was one of the reasons why I had trouble when I was in LA. I was drinking all the time in LA, like real heavy in LA, because I was lonely.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't until I went to basic training and I got time to really sit there and think, and I was taken away from my friends again by force.
Did you make strong friends when you were there at basic training?
I'm still friends with a lot of people that I went to basic and AIT with,
Awesome.
but it was the first time that I went and did something that wasn't an option. A lot of people, like, I think, look at me, or my friends would look at me and not see how that's possible, but that was like a real issue. Like I had that. I still to this day, like I want to throw a party, right? Because I'm worried that, or this is why I haven't even had like a meetup in the city, because I'm worried nobody's going to show up, right? I got that issue, all right. But drinking makes you forget that, because now you're part of a social, or you have a reason to get together socially, so you can fall back on that, or you can say, oh, they didn't feel like drinking, instead of having to face your fears and shit like that. All right, I had to deal with that, and when you don't have something to distract you, when you don't have something that you can bury yourself in and go, this is that, no, you gotta face that. And I'm real happy about that, because I was just talking to somebody today about all the stuff that I had to like work through and deal with once I stopped drinking.
Sober.
Yeah, because you don't have that escape anymore.
What was one of the hardest things you had to face when you became sober versus you just got through it with drinking easily?
I used to say, right? Two things really, right?
Okay.
And they kind of go hand in hand. I used to say that 95% of my personal problems were either caused by or exacerbated under the influence of alcohol.
Okay.
And so I used to brag that like 5% of my life, that means that if you get rid of alcohol, that most of my life was good. Instead of looking and going like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, you know, your life ain't on point because look at how you drinking. Like, you know, I had to face a lot of the people who didn't like me, who, you know, were good friends of mine, relationships that I probably ruined because of my actions and how I was behaving under the influence. And like when I was writing my book, Sober Letters to My Drunken Self, I think because I would just get this guilt, man. I would write people I ain't talked to in years. I mean, look, you ain't got to respond, but I'm just letting you know, I am taking responsibility for my behavior. I apologize, whatever. You ain't got to say nothing back. Some people did, some people didn't. But
you actually wrote letters to everyone that you wronged.
I didn't. Well, you know, because now it's super easy, man. It's Facebook. You just respond to them. And you know, people who had unfriended me or stopped talking to me, I went and messaged them, and I said, "Look, man, you were more or less right. I was an asshole." And that was another thing I used to say. I used to say.
And you published that into a book, all the letters that you sent to them.
I didn't publish those letters.
You didn't publish those letters.
But while I was writing the book just happens to have that title.
Okay.
I would think about that and I would write to those people. Okay. And another thing I used to say, I would go, look, man, if you don't like me when I'm drunk, you're probably not going to like me when I'm sober. Backwards as hell, right? Because that's how I would justify to myself, oh, man, this is another person that don't want to rock with you. Because for me, I hated it when I drank, right? And so I really hate it now. But I would hate somebody to go, man, that's because he was drinking, right? I mean, because if you dislike me, I want you to dislike me. That's to me, that's the coolest part about sobriety. I know if somebody got a problem with me, they have a problem with me, and there is no ambiguity. You know, there's no cloudiness. We can either deal with it or not.
Damn. So, of the people that you wrote, how many letters did you write?
Oh man, what up?
How many people?
5 people.
5 people. 5
people for sure. And there might have been more, but 5. Whenever I think about this, 5 names come up immediately to mind.
And did they write you back? All of the 5 that you remember at least?
2 did not.
2 did not.
Yeah. 2 did not. 3 wrote back and understood and everything.
They accepted your apology?
Yeah. As far as I know, I mean, because here's the thing, like whenever you ask for forgiveness,
Mhm.
it's always a selfish thing.
Of
It's,
course it
it's
is.
not for the
It
other
is.
person, it's for you.
It is.
But I had to weigh that against personal responsibility. Okay, I had to go, okay. And I didn't write to everybody. There were some people who were legitimately not cool people, sober or not, and I had to weigh that out, right?
Yeah.
But I weighed it and I go, I have a personal responsibility to at least acknowledge that I was a mess. Now, whether they take it or not, that's up to them. But for me, I don't want to die, not facing, because I think that's part of being a man. You gotta be like, look, man, I fucked up, right? And I did you wrong. Now you can take it or leave it, but I'm letting you know that I recognize that I did wrong. But when I was drinking, I couldn't say that.
Yeah.
Because look, here's the thing. Here's one of the things I learned. This is one of the coolest things, man. When you mess up, if you get in front of it and you own it and you stop the behavior you were doing before, people have a really big margin for forgiveness. Like way more than I think even in conversation or thinking we give credit for. But the minute you do the thing again, oh, you're dead.
Yeah.
So I knew that, like logically, I knew that. So I never reached out to anybody when I was still drinking, because that'd be foolish.
Because you knew.
Because I knew I was going to just fall back.
Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't be worth anything. And then if I had did it then, they weren't going to listen to my words now.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I mean,
It loses its potency.
It loses its potency.
I gotta know, and I don't mean to get too personal here.
Let's go,
the
man.
two people that didn't write you back, what did you do to them? If you remember, how did you wrong them?
I remember one in particular. I said some really ill stuff because she said some real ill stuff about me that I took the wrong way. And in reality, I should have heard it and been like, yo, I have a problem. Let me listen and let me respond to it. All right. But instead, I fought petty. I fought back. I was defensive and all this, right? So that person didn't say nothing else. Say something back to me.
Were you drunk when you guys had that argument or that exchange?
What ended up happening, one of the things, I remember the first, one of many times I tried to get sober, one of the things that motivated it is that I knew, or I had been told that like my reputation amongst my close friends was going to shit. And that's a big deal to me. And you start hearing that and it starts getting back to you. And I got mad about the person who was telling people who are one of the names that came up. I got mad about it instead of like taking that and self-reflecting. So what I wrote her and I was like, look, I should have responded differently to this. You helped me realize that I had an issue.
Gotcha.
That's how that one went. The other person that did not write me back was this guy. Just I was just mean to him, man. Like there's no and that's cool because like what I can't imagine we'd ever be cool and be friends, but it wasn't about that.
Yeah.
It was about I did this wrong and let me own it. However you want to feel about it is how you feel about it. But now I know I owned it. Like is what matters,
So
that's maturity, man.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah.
Like this episode should be accountability 101. So Ed, as you guys, the popularity of the channel has exploded, and we love everybody that watches and supports us, and that's why I wanted people to kind of get your story. To anyone out there that might be watching the show that's dealing with some demons, whether it's alcoholism or drugs or some kind of substance abuse, what's your advice for them as someone that's beat that?
You got to figure out. I used to think. Actually, I'm gonna give you like a real practical thing that you can do right now, and then something deeper to like work on. Practical speaking, you got to move your social circle or your circumstances away, because a lot of when something turns like a full-blown issue, habit, consumption, whatever, your environment really supports that. A lot of people become enablers. I mean, like even for me, with alcohol, none of my other friends have like an issue drinking, but they drink, and none of them are going to be like, yo, you have a problem. I used to think someone would. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Not because they don't care about me, but it's just human nature. They're going to look and go, well, if you got a problem, then maybe I have one, or I'm enabling you, or, you know. So it's not going to come that way. You have to go, okay, there might be something up. Let me distance myself.
Okay.
And by nature, by the way I did it, that's one of the things
That helped you.
that I ended up doing was I distanced myself. In fact, I can tell you, I got sober December 23rd, 2013 was my first full day of not having a drink. I was not out after midnight again until January, like the first week of January 2015. And I remember this clearly because a buddy of mine wanted to watch the Daniel Cormier Bone Jones fight, right? So we had to go on the East Coast. It's going to be after midnight. We went to Dave and Buster's and ended up watching it. But by that point, you know, that's how long it had been since I had like been putting myself out, because I just had to step away.
Yeah.
Was dealing with a bunch of things to keep me busy. So that's the first thing you got to do, like practical. You got to like do something that keeps you away from the environment that supports whatever issue you have.
Okay.
The second thing is I would really look at what makes you anxious. Because there's probably a hint in there. Like, I don't experience anxiety, I think, the way a normal person does, but I'm aware of this thing called anxiety. I'm aware of like being apprehensive about doing something, and I know the things that make me apprehensive. And when I started thinking about those, I would go, well, what would I normally do? Okay, I'm standing here at this social gathering, and I don't feel like I fit in or have something to say. Let me drink. All right, now that lets me deal with, okay, why don't I feel like I fit in with these people I know my whole life, stuff like that. So that's like, you know, some deep thing. Because look, I'll never tell somebody to get therapy because I never got therapy, so because I don't know anything about it, right? I can't endorse it either way. I'm sure it helps some people. I've never done it, so I can't say go get therapy.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is what I did on that front is I looked at the things that were triggering me to drink, basically, and I said, okay, why do I have those feelings? And that, you know, however long that takes, how long it takes, man. If it's important to you, you'll do it.
Okay. Damn. Man, that was
We try to keep it real, man.
No, I appreciate it, man, because people have messaged me all the time, you know, saying, hey, I have an issue with this, I have an issue with that. And I think whether it's alcoholism or some kind of substance abuse or drugs or whatever it is, you know, it all has the same underlying issues and the same underlying ways to kind of deal with it. So, you know, whatever poison is your pick, regardless, it's the same.
You want to hear something crazy? Like this blew my mind because I'm actually like, so all these like dates and all this stuff is like super fresh in my mind because I'm giving a TED talk on this in Austin on May 7th, right?
Okay, nice.
But tomorrow is like my first like go through the speech with the person who's looking. So I mean, I know the speech well enough. But one of the things that I found when I was researching, I didn't put this in the talk because it just doesn't fit, is there's this experiment where called Rat Park, right? That's we'll just call it Rat Park, where they had these rats and they gave them cocaine water and the rats got hooked on coke, right? They turned into crackhead rats.
Yes.
And then somebody came along and looked at the experiment. I was like, well, these rats are by themselves. Why don't we give them everything they could need plus other rats to be around? And all of a sudden, the rats don't want to drink the Coke water. And so what we've concluded, and then we look at also in other studies, what we've concluded is that to sum it up, what a quote from Johann Hari is, the opposite of addiction is connection. A lot of times people end up addicted to stuff because that is their cope. That's how they feel connected. That's how they fit in. Right. Like, dude, I know two people who smoked crack on multiple occasions and just said, I don't know, this isn't for me, right? But I also have known crackheads who are like, fiending at the mouth. Like, they, you know, so what's the difference?
Yeah, no, of course. I never thought about that. So social connection will help with addiction.
Oh, absolutely.
But the correct social connection, not with people that are going to enable you, which I think is the key. And you said that's step one to getting away. You know, for anyone out there that's watching, you know, if you have an issue with alcohol or drugs or whatever, get away from the people that enable that behavior
and do something else, like cool and constructive, man. Like I think about, so I stopped going to the bar all the time. But instead, well, for starters, I spent a lot more time in the gym, like a lot more.
Uh-huh.
And then I also was spending time with my girl. And I think and I was in class too. So I'm meeting all these new people and doing all these new things, and building these new connections that it got nothing to do with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm still drilling on the weekends too with my military guys. So I'm building this new identity, right?
Yeah.
And that really helps.
Yeah.
All right. But if I was like trying to, like, people crack me up, man, and I know they mean well, and no one's just ever said it to them. They're like, I'm trying to cut back, but I'm gonna go out with my friends and I'm just not gonna drink. I'm like, you won't last.
Yeah.
You
Very
know,
true.
it's like, what do they say? Or I say, you hang around a trap house long enough, eventually you're gonna smoke some crack.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You can't, like, you're not gonna hang out with addicts and not eventually, and even if they're not addicts, even if they're just like casual drinkers, right? You're gonna feel out of place because you don't have your habit built up yet. That's what
You're
I
the
call
average
it.
of the 5 people we spend the most time with.
Oh, absolutely. And you hang out with 5 crackheads, right?
So you're saying basically find new habits to kind of replace the old ones, so that way you get your mind off of the whole.
and not just replace the old ones, but preferably social ones, right? If you had to pick between like chess and like, I don't know if they do this down here, but they have these like little community sports leagues for adults, and then they go out drink afterwards. That's not the part you want to do. But yeah, now all of a sudden you're meeting up with people who are doing the thing you want to do, or like an anime club, man. I know now anime is like a thing for adults too. But the point is, you find something you're doing where you're building connections with people who don't know you as a head. You meet new people and they're like, okay, this is a new person. This is a new identity I can build. I can feel real comfortable in that.
Shout out anime.
Okay.
So let me read some chats real quick because I got a question here as far as the RP goes. Okay, Fresh looking like the Chicago Bulls logo, Botox. Okay, that's funny. Daniel N, big fan and service member here. Can you remember examples of good/bad leadership in your day? Also, can you confirm that military women are 304s? Good, bro.
Okay, so I can, man, I got to figure out the best way to say this. I think if you had to take a bet, all things considered equal, I personally, all things considered equal, right? I would probably not date a woman that served. That's just me, okay?
Misogyny.
And maybe I'll get lit up for that. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But that's, it's just keeping it real.
A lot of guys will agree with you. We get that in the chat a lot.
As far as good and bad leadership, I had a really outstanding drill sergeant. And it's just what it stood out to me, his leadership and how he handled people. And I was really keen on it because I went in older. Everybody else was on average 10 years younger than me.
Yeah, I was gonna say going in at 27, you're the
so I have to it's a weird like dynamic because these people now are like they have power over me by rank in the military system. A lot of them are younger than me. In fact, I'm pretty sure all my drill sergeants were younger than me. Not all, but maybe one wasn't. But I had a really excellent guy that did a good job of walking what I think is a very fine and difficult line to walk between being pushing you till you break, but not letting you like break completely and building you back up. That really stood out to me. As far as bad leadership, I think I'll say as a whole, I think the military is it's always been done this way. Why would we ever question it? And I understand part of the reason why it's done that way. I really do. But here's a fun story about me. When I went to enlist, you go down the maps, you do everything, you take the ASVAB, and there's another test. I cannot remember what it's called. Maybe you do because you have that background. But they're testing to see how well you follow orders. And your ability to kind of fall in. So I go, my ASVAB score was 99, and my APFT was something like, at that point, it was like 240. So
really good.
So in great goal, I'm in the prime of fighting professionally. I'm in great shape. Yeah. But I failed this leadership test or this ability to follow orders test by 2 points. Oh, shit. And they weren't going to let me go. And they looked at the other two scores. That's why I mentioned those first. And they said, nudge them on. Yeah, there's a reason why they want that kind of guy. Because you start questioning little stuff and you don't realize there's a a method. I don't know if it's the best method, but there is a method behind some of the madness of not questioning things, and it wasn't for me. So I don't have anything that stands out in my mind is like really bad leadership, but I know a lot of people follow the dogma without questioning it.
Okay, fair enough. And then we got the Emperor 129. Shout out to the FNF gang. Ed Latimore, your interview on Art of Manliness 4 years ago was a game changer. After listening to it, I went back in school. Now I teach full time in a public school.
Wow.
Respect.
You know what's cool about this interview?
Yeah.
Great story here, right? Little like side note. So my first book that I self-published, the Not Caring What Other People Think is a Superpower, Insights from a Heavyweight Boxer. All right. That book was done on a shoestring budget. Like, I have all kind of typos in there. I go through and pick up, correct them when I can on the Kindle version. And I was not nearly as good of a writer as I am now, but I wanted to get something done and put it out there.
Yeah.
And I was bad at naming stuff. Some people watching might remember the personality known as Victor Prod. He took a liking to a lot of my stuff, and he wrote me one night, and he was like, "What do you think about naming the next book?" And I was going to name it The Quotable Boxer. And he goes, "That's fucking terrible." like he knows me, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, you got this great Twitter account, and you would name something that. What is wrong with you?" And I go, "Okay." So now I'm listening because I know you listen when somebody steps in, and I like how he did things. So I was like, okay. And he says, "Name it after one of your tweets." I'm like, anyone? He's like, any tweet is better than your name. Yeah. So he went and grabbed that one. And I said, "Oh, that works." And why do I tell this story? And how does it relate to the Art of Manliness interview? That book has opened so many doors because it was a marketable proof of I am a person. I'm not just a talking head on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I got that interview with Art of Manliness. They grabbed the book. I can't remember his last name, but Brett, the guy who runs Art of Manliness, he was like, "Yeah, come on." And every now and then I got a Christmas card from him. He was like, "Yeah, your interview is still one of the highest listened to of all time." And I was like, "Yeah, man, thank you for giving me the opportunity." Because without that, I mean, there's tons of things that come up along the way, and you got to make sure you're working. You just got to work and have faith.
Yeah.
But a little side story.
So I got a question for you.
Okay.
So what red pilled you?
Oh, what red pill me? Okay. Yeah. So when I was I had to just explain this story or tell this story.
You're in a relationship yourself now, a very good one. It's been stable.
Very happy. Very happy. But I just had to tell this story to my girl that I'm in a relationship with, and you'll see why.
Yeah.
So there was this girl when I broke up with that girl I was talking about, the one where I was sober for a while. Yeah, for a while. I ended up with this girl. Now, I have to take credit or take blame, take responsibility. She was like kind of dating my boy. They weren't really serious, but okay. And then so I went after and ended up hooking up with her.
Okay. So they were seeing each other prior to you getting with her?
Sort of.
Okay.
Not really, because then when he went and then, ended up, messing around with the girl I was talking about, who I was with for like, the 3 years where I was sober, that girl. Right. So okay. it was a swap.
So he talked to her first. So he talked to her first.
No, I'm pretty sure I messed this one up. I talked to her first and then swapped out. All right.
Okay. All right.
But what an awful. I mean, it was just a really. She's cool now. Like, so I don't want to. I'm not gonna be too mean or whatever.
The girl that you dated that you were sober for 3 years with.
Oh no, she was cool. That's not what red pill me. This situation red pill me because I was with her for a while and she ended up getting pregnant. And it was, obviously it wasn't mine, right? Mm-hmm. Some other guys.
Thank God.
And that was was like rough in and of itself, but
because you thought it was yours.
So I'm like team condom. Like I was, I've always been that guy.
All right.
Team condom.
Sorry,
team
Fresh.
pull out. So I did not think it was mine, but I had to entertain the possibility, and I don't remember where I got the idea from. I think it was like from my father. I had just heard one day that like one of the reasons why my dad was around is that I think he doubted my mom, but he couldn't just take off without knowing for sure. And it turns out it was, that's the story I vaguely remember inspiring me to take the same action. Little did I know that me taking that action would spur my mother to move this girl into her house. And let me tell you, man, I was not in a in a good space. I was like, wow, I'm like your son, and this is like how you repay me, right? You moved this person in, and she had
so your mom moved in the girl that was allegedly your baby mother.
Yeah, with the kid and everything, and she got super attached, and I get it, but like it was a really messy experience for me in my memory.
So did she lie and tell your mom that the kid was yours?
No, my mom just latched onto it. And
the child.
Yeah, to the point where like, why did I say I had to just explain this to my girl? Because my mother just passed in December, and thank you. And we got my sister took a bunch of pictures, and she took out the pictures of her and kept them, and then she like gave me a bag of the pictures left, and I was going through them because I needed to get some pictures for this thing. And it turns out the picture my sister decided to give me, my mom went and took like baby pictures with this kid like it was her grandson. And I get it, like she wanted it to be true, but I said I'm never going to be in this position again because I was like relying on the girl to like use her car and everything too. Mm-hmm. I was a pookie, man. It was bad. Like
I was a pookie.
Yeah,
Tyrone. I was a pookie.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. But at this point, were you sure the kid wasn't yours? You were like,
oh, okay. So there did come a point, right? So what ended up happening is there were 3 candidates. The first one she tested, that was it. But
the first one she tested was the dad.
Yeah, and it ended up but I think she ended up still staying with my mom, and it was a mess for me. It was hard because there was the point where I was like, okay, this could be.
So and just so that people get the timeline. So she moves in. You think it's yours, maybe. You're not sure.
I'm not sure, but I'm not willing to act as if it's not.
Okay. So you step up, right? And you're like, this could be my kid. And then she tests the first guy, and the first guy ends up being the dad. At that point, that probably leaves a terrible taste in your mouth. You're like, and you're kind of in the middle. You don't know what to do here. And then is that what like?
Well, yeah,
with the red pill right there.
Because what happened for me, my whole perspective, I learned a few things from that experience.
Yeah.
One, and this is the heartbreaking thing to me. My mom actually asked me one day. She was like, "Is this why you're not around the person?" I won't, say their name, obviously. The person is not here, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" Yes, that's why I'm not like coming around. Like I'm very much not happy in this situation.
Did your mom know the kid wasn't yours?
Oh yeah,
she knew too. Okay, but she had already built an attachment to the child.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That is scary, bro.
So that bugged me. And then I said, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I felt because look, I'm not gonna like paint a picture like I wasn't like emotionally into the girl. It just so happens that what's the best way to describe it, man? You know what it must be like? You ever fight? Well, you're not. Something you like, but it's bad for something you like, but it's bad for you. It's really bad for you, man.
Yeah.
And so like
ice cream.
Yeah, it was like ice cream. It was a really bitter ice cream. And I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have like the
resolve to walk away.
The resolve or the financial position to walk away because I was relying on her for her car and everything to get to my job at Starbucks, mind you, at this point.
Okay. So you're 22 around this time.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, I would have been, I think about where I live, 22, 23.
Okay.
So that's what really did it. I never wanted to be in that position again. So I set out to understand why this happened and how to make sure it would not happen again. Because that was a really hard thing. Like one of my crazy memories. I mean, I can talk about this stuff now. This is like somewhat dark what I'm about to say, but anyone who's ever gone through it will understand what I'm saying. There's a certain level of freedom that you can communicate about your life with. Because my mom, she was on my mailing list for a while. She hated when I would talk about my childhood. And I said, look, if I'm being dishonest, I will correct it and you tell me. But if you just don't like the stories I'm telling you, I have nothing there, right? So I can be honest right now. I can talk because I know I don't have to worry about my mom, like, because you guys' show is pretty big, man. Like, it's not like you got like 10,000 subscribers, and it's like no, it is well within the realm of possibility that someone goes, is he talking about you, and then shares the clip to say girl, like so that's why I'm being very careful, but like that freedom to be able to talk about these experiences, that is just therapeutic. It is very therapeutic, and that's one of the reasons why I write about them. Because if someone can learn from them and not get in that position, because that's a rough position, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Like I remember when my mom finally had enough of the girl, because I don't, I've talked to her as an adult, and her adult self is cool now. I always say, if I had a problem with you, even 2 years ago, I had a problem with you 2 years ago. I don't know how you are now. We will meet again, and I'll see if I still have a problem with you.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, judge your present self based on your past, unless you did something like really heinous. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've seen the girl, and she's cool.
You
right?
guys are amicable now.
Amicable, and she's done a good job with the kid, as far as I can tell. But I remember my mom threw her out. My mom was calling me, like, because I think they got the police involved or whatever, and she's calling me asking for my help. And I'll never forget. I said, this is not my problem anymore, and I had to just hang up and let them sort it out. And at that point, I was like, okay, this sucks. This is bad, but I'm never going to get here ever again.
Yeah.
Now, it's part of my RedPill journey, which is very different than I think a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Is that eventually I wanted a relationship with my mother, right? But I knew it had to be a certain kind of relationship. So along with this, I really got into forgiveness. Like I stumbled upon a book, The Course in Miracles. Forget about the kooky, anybody who looks this up or is familiar with the book. The woman claims that Jesus came down and actually dictated to her by hand for some number of years. Forget about that kooky backstory, and let's just like work with the practical elements that it does give you. To me, that really helped me with forgiveness. And now I am a big preacher of forgiveness, because if it wasn't for that, I probably would have, because I didn't talk to my mom for, man, it was 3 years, man. It was a rough, because I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, and every time we talked, it was anger and all. But I said, all right, I got to take responsibility, and I got to, because it's digging me up. That's one of the things that contributes to the drinking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. But I got to, dig in and forgive. And then in forgiving, I can work through these issues and talk to you and have a relationship and feel like you're in my life or whatever. And that made a difference. But that's part of my journey too, to forgiveness. But the other part, the part that most people are familiar with, I went and learned how to never be susceptible again. And one of the things, we were talking about how I'm in a stable relationship now. I think about like my triggers, like my what are we gonna call them? Non-negotiables, my deal breakers. And my biggest deal breaker is like when I feel a little bit of emotional manipulation, because my mom was like that, and that girl was like that too. I go, okay, I know what you're about. And we're talking little. It could be like telling me that you hate this song instead of just asking me to change the radio, that kind of deal, okay? And she don't trigger any of that. Now she's got like clout and she's got say, so she don't have to, or if she does, I know that like that's just her personality, and it's not like to manipulate me. But for a long time, I was like oversensitive to manipulation.
Okay.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shit. That's I will say that's a unique story right there to get RP'd through that way. I mean, a sense with the girl.
I'm really happy okay. What's the best way to put this? I have heard enough RP stories to know that there are a lot of benefits in the way it happened to me. In particular, I didn't have to go through the anger phase as much.
Yeah.
Or rather, I didn't have it directed at women in general.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys, they get stuck there.
Yeah.
It is a bad place to be, because what you're getting angry at is nature. It would be like if I drop a coin and it hits the table and I start cursing gravity, and
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
look at you like, what's wrong with you, man? Like this fucking gravity, man, always making stuff drop. Like, like
That's a good analogy.
Like,
Yeah, it's true.
nah,
It's
man,
very, very true.
Because even though when gravity makes stuff drop, it sometimes breaks them. There's a lot of great uses for gravity. You just have to know, don't jump out the building.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I look at understanding women. It's like once you know, you can be angry, or you can go, well, there's a probability that if I do this, it's going to lead to this. So let me not do that. Let me not, get out of shape and be broke. Now, like there's a great one. Like, God, don't let me be broken. Like, try and get a girl or something like that. Don't bring around the homies if I don't know her, like that kind of thing. Like little things you just learn and pick up, and you're no longer angry at the game. You're not even angry at the player, because you're like, well, this is the game I got to play, right? It's like if you're playing football, right?
Yeah.
And somebody blindsides you,
Yeah.
but it's a clean hit.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? That's a bad hit you took, but it's in the rules of the game.
Yep. It's in the rules of the game.
Yeah.
That was the dark story you wanted to tell, right?
Oh yeah. That was.
Okay.
How'd you meet Rollo Tomassi?
Okay, so here's a great thing about the internet, man. That's why we sitting here right now, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
All on the internet. And I just, I'm putting stuff out on Twitter. Rollo's putting stuff out on Twitter. I'm reading Rollo stuff too. And then one day we did a podcast together. I want to say I can't remember. I'm not even gonna say his last name, even though now I do remember it. With a Mark, we did a podcast. And then there was the 21 conference that he was part of, and he told the organizer of said conference that I'd be great to come down. And I was like, oh man, that's great, Rollo. And I hooked that one there and met him and gave a good speech, and I thought that was cool. And then from there, we just, he's a
I think that speech was called "Being Red Pilled in a Blue Pill World."
Yeah, that's
saw that
it's
speech.
got
Good
over
speech.
like, man, it might have 200,000 views by this point. And one of the themes that comes up heavy in that speech is the role of forgiveness.
Yeah.
So
Good speech,
There
man.
you go.
That's how I found out about you as well. And like I said, then we did our interview, and I've always admired your candidness when it comes to your past with drinking and your mishaps, and just be like just bluntness as far as like, I fucked up and I'm gonna let everyone know I fucked up and I'm gonna correct my wrong, and you do it brazenly. And I think that's something that's very admirable, especially in today's day and age where people don't like to admit fault.
dude, one thing I figured out a long time ago, no one's perfect, and you're gonna fuck up, man. That's just like, that's part of life. No one gets this thing right most of the time, right? The difference in how, as Aaron Clary always says,
Shout out
other
to Aaron
people
Clary. Yeah.
are the most important thing.
Yeah.
And they don't like if you mess up, if you don't own it. Like when you deflect responsibility, that's a really big problem. Like that's a betrayal of trust. And so I got to be responsible and own whenever I make a mistake. And what that does, that does two things. One, that allows me to be completely like real. I'm like, I'm going to try my best, but if things don't go right, I'm going to come correct and tell you, okay, here's why it didn't work out. Right. And whatever that is, whether it be in a relationship, whether it be in a work assignment or something like that, I'm always going to, that allows me to be honest. And the other big thing about this as well, when you own it, you don't get to bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
and you are the easiest person to bullshit.
Facts.
If you can avoid that, right, you're gonna be all right. But when you start believing your own nonsense, and not in like an empowering way, like, oh man, I'm like, kind of fake it till you make it or whatever. But you start thinking that you are, for example, successful more because of your work ethic rather than just the good luck, or downplaying the role that someone else, the help that someone gave you. Oh man, you in bad shape.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to get blindsided by reality. That's one of the lessons I really picked up growing up, because when you grow up the kind of the way I grew up, you don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to be a straight up kid. Like I remember I remember the exact moment that I was like, I am an adult now. I'm not an adult, at least in the legal sense, but like if I'm gonna make it through this life
It's sink or
thing,
swim right here, right now.
yeah.
That's
And that was watching my mom get arrested when I was 11.
Mm.
And it wasn't just her getting arrested. There was like the issue. It was how it happened. She was like arguing with somebody, and I was like, go in the house, like, please, because she was drinking a little bit. And she still went out there knowing the risk that she could, what would happen, and went. And I said, wow. And that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
Right. So I've never, ever been allowed to deceive myself.
Yeah.
Because you pay for that. And so
it has a very profound effect on the children.
Mhm.
I'll tell you guys this: when I was a federal agent, I always made a point, if there were children in the house, I would never handcuff the parent in front of the child. I would never do that. I would always say, hey, let's go outside and do this. You know what I mean? And because I knew, without you even telling me that story, I know how much of a profound effect it is for a child to see their parents literally get their freedom taken from them in front of their eye. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's you know what? If I had been a little younger, I wouldn't have understood it. And if I was a little older, I would have been like, whatever, or something else would have happened. Who knows? But that point is like, I'm not at that age where I think I know it all yet, but I know I'm not a kid anymore. But now I'm like, oh, I got to stay here. Like I got to spend the night here by myself and figure this thing out. And it is scary,
Yeah, I know what to say about you, Ed, as well. Like you definitely do understand that you don't know everything, so you're willing to learn. And like we linked up as well. We did some social media game as well, and you took it, and it worked for you very well. But regarding whatever you need to like learn, you say, you know what? I don't know everything. I'm gonna go to the expert. I'll learn.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we were talking about that before we started, filming and everything. Yeah. Is that one of the best things about this whole social media? We'll call it like internet sphere of people who are connecting. Is that if I don't know it all, and I will never know it all. I will never know a fraction of it all. But collectively, with all the people I know, I can learn. Like I have access to like maybe 5% of it. Okay. And so I have to make sure I reach out and take and learn and be open. And there's even people who ain't, who may not look like they're doing shit, but they know something. One of the things that always surprises people I interact with on Twitter, anyone that comes up with a Twitter god, I buy it. I don't ask for free. I go buy it because I'm like, okay, you probably know something that I don't know. And even if you don't, let me make sure, because I don't want you to get an advantage. Okay. So if you have something in your God, even if you have 1/10 of my following, I'm going to take it in and see what you have. And that's going to man, that will change your life if you just are able to step back and go, man, I don't know shit. Like, and really mean it. I have no problem like looking like a novice, a neophyte, like I don't know anything, because I'm gonna be that way about something no matter what I do.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll read some of these chats real quick. And I want to add to this too, because I know some of you guys were like, damn, that was that's crazy. The thing is, guys, when I was an agent, right, our job was, we take an oath to, uphold the Constitution and defend the United States. Our oath isn't to my job when I'm coming there with an arrest warrant isn't to take away your freedom, but it's not to take away your dignity. So that's why I always was like, if there were kids in the house or anything like that, and I was, affecting an arrest, I would never arrest them in front of their kids, because that you don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on a child. And for you to say that, like, that just brought back flashbacks. I remember one time I was doing a warrant, and there were kids in the house and everything else like that, and the dad was there, and the mom, and I think we had like went to go get them for like smuggling or some shit like that. And I said, hey, let's go outside and do this and everything like that, because they were being compliant, like they weren't like resisting or doing anything like that, And, I cuffed them outside, and I made sure the kids didn't see it. And one of the other like female agents was dealing with the kids, then we called the family services or whatever. But, you're not there to shit on the people, man. You're there to take their freedom, not their dignity. And that's something I always remembered. Obviously if they're resisting or something like that, then you got to affect them.
Then you got to break off in the ass.
But at the end of the day, you don't want the kids to suffer suffer any type of real consequence like the parents are. The parents are the ones that made the bad decision, not the children. Okay, so we got Daniel N here. Quick anime question: Castlevania ended too soon?
You know what? They ended it. I'll say, if you're a gaming nerd, man, you'll get this reference exactly back in oh goodness, what was this, like 2002, 2003?
I was gonna say those are the games from back in the day.
Oh, yeah, man.
I never played Castlevania. And by the way, guys, like the goddamn video, bro, because this is one of our best interviews. Like the fucking video right now. I haven't stopped the video to get likes. Get the likes up, guys. So this get pushed in the algorithm so more people can figure out who the hell Ed Latimore is. He's a good friend of ours, great content creator, author, entrepreneur.
2K likes, guys. Let's go.
Get the likes up to at least 2,000, guys. So this gets pushed in the algorithm.
Castlevania for Game Boy Advance was fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah, so they made an anime of it. Yeah, they put on Netflix. Loved it, and it ended exactly when they could have. I mean, you know what my real beef with the series was? By the way, this is gonna be like some random nerd shit, but you guys please suffer me for a minute.
Go ahead.
They only made the episodes to be 30 minutes. Not even 30 minutes. They were like 27, 23, something weird. They could have gone a full hour, man. I would have sat there and gave my soul to those people.
Facts.
I would have did it. But too soon, no. But too short, absolutely.
Damn. So you watch anime? That's pretty.
You know what? Actually, man, I used to be a big anime head. That's what I.
Top three.
Top three from back in the day. Because I don't know any of the new shit. But Neon Genesis Evangelion, Ninja Scroll, and if I'm around this out, maybe it's either between the original or Bloodlust of Vampire Hunter D.
Okay.
And anybody who knows those, like
classics, man.
Classics. My sister, you know, it's funny, man. My sister's 3.5 years younger than me. And when we were growing up, she didn't care shit about anime. Now she's going to conventions, and I'm like, well now I don't. There's quite literally too much. Because look, I'm gonna go on a rant real quick.
No, go ahead, please.
I'm an old school anime dude. Back when we were in anime, you had to send a motherfucker like $20 in a money order to some weird address in Malaysia, and you wasn't sure if the tape was going to show up. You just had to hope. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. And there were no retailers that carried it until Suncoast Video came out. And Suncoast would sometimes have the shit, but a lot of times they wouldn't even do the dub right. And that was the other thing. There was only like 2 or 3 voice actors. It was like I remember Amanda Wynn did all of the female voices, and this other dude did some male voices. But that now these kids, man, they got it easy, man. I'm from the we had to go uphill both ways, the school 5 miles generation anime. These kids are from the I'm just gonna go on a site and stream it. They don't know the struggle.
Crunchyroll,
VHS tape.
Yeah, Crunchyroll, yeah, there you go.
Crunchyroll, yeah. Okay, can I recommend 2 anime for you? I mean, even out of time, but like 2 I would recommend to you. GTO, which is a great teacher, Onizaku.
Okay.
He's kind of like a gang member turned teacher. It's pretty funny. You might relate to that.
Okay.
And then 2, it's Ajin Ippo, a boxer, very humble kid coming up, and his journey through adversity, endurance. So 2 pretty good anime.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with that one. The last anime, not counting Castlevania, because I count that as the new generation where you just watch it.
Yeah.
That I really watched. My cousin got me for my 21st birthday. He just went and got me the DVD set of the original Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh wow!
And then I was like, oh, there's Brotherhood. Where they actually follow the manga. So I've seen both, and I'm one of the guys that thinks the original is better than Brotherhood in terms of anime. But a lot of people disagree with that.
Yeah,
so
there's a back and forth.
That's nice little anime rant. Probably something a little different.
I've seen both.
I know that guys like the fucking video.
I've seen both,
bro.
yeah.
Ozzy the Terrible, $20. The broken women make broken homes that make broken children that make broken single moms again. How do we break the cycle?
Oh, goodness.
2-parent household, my friends.
Yep.
2-parent households is what breaks that cycle.
All right.
And then I think we're caught up.
Yeah, we're caught up.
So, Ed, where can the people find you, man?
Look, man, if anybody is ever born with the name Ed Latimore again, they are shit out of luck. Because I'm Ed Latimore everywhere. I'm Ed Latimore on Twitter, Ed Latimore Instagram. My YouTube is Ed Latimore. My Facebook is Ed Latimore. My website is edlatimore.com. Come to the newsletter, sign up, edlatimore.com/newsletter. No OnlyFans yet.
But it's coming.
It might be. It might be.
You never know.
And guys, I got all his links below. Guys, go get his books. How many books have you written now?
Okay, so I've written.
Like the video, by the way,
I've
guys.
self-published 2 books. I self-published. The first one I was talking about, the not caring what other people think is a superpower.
Yep.
And then Sober Letters to My Drunken Self. I released that 5 years to the day after my sobriety. So 2018, December 23rd. And it's just a book because when I went through it, no one warned me about kind of the emotional changes that would occur. Everyone talked to me about having to change my social circle and things like that. So I was prepared for that. was not prepared for the guilt that I have. I was not prepared for figuring out how to deal with a lot of the trauma and stuff we talked about. And that book is for the person that is having those same issues when they try to get sober. So I have 2, and now I'm working on 2 more, 1 fiction, 1 nonfiction. So
Okay.
hopefully I get them done by the end of the year.
Bam.
Cool.
Professional boxer, author, speaker, entrepreneur,
Anime head.
and
Anime head.
you know, former alcoholic, reformed man now, man. Guys, he's Ed Latimore. Check him out.
I know we
everywhere.
have.
And also get the course. The crypto course is below, guys. Click the link at the top. You know, get in there. You only got 2 days. But yes, all Ed's links, guys, are below. I put his Twitter. I put his Amazon link. I put all that stuff there. Go check him out, guys. There's a reason why I wanted him on the show so bad, and he's here now.
And he'll be here with the ladies.
And he'll be here with the ladies here in a little bit.
And special guest, Rollo.
Oh yeah, Rollo's gonna.
He's coming to see Ed.
Oh shit. Okay.
Surprise.
Okay, we lit.
Awesome,
Okay.
man. Yeah.
All right,
There you
we
go.
lit. We're lit. So, guys, make sure to like this video. Go check out Ed, man. Like, fantastic writer, fantastic content creator. Go check him out on Twitter so you can hear a bunch of crackhead jokes. It's great stuff. We'll catch y'all here in a little bit. Peace.